2TC is an achievement in Bloons Tower Defense 6 where you need to complete an entire game of chimps using just 2 towers. Today we're going forth with this with one of my favourite towers in the game, alongside one of my least favourite towers in the game. But at least it's Tsar Bomba and not Sky Shredder, so that we've got going for us. Though, if you're able to pull it off, then the Pop and Ore and Sky Shredder 2TC combo has more map potentials than Tsar Bomba, because Tsar Bomba doesn't really have what you call a lot of single target damage. And if you're going to mention that one time where somebody did a 1TC with Tsar Bomba, A, not every map has logs, and B, not everybody is Duke. So stop with that kind of conversation going on. So I know there's some people in the comments that like to mention something in which the rest of us obviously know about. Oh, for goodness sakes. Green balloon, it's just me and my mortar skills, or my lack of mortar skills. Yes, I know the 1TC Tsar Bomba exists. It exists at a time when the bombing runs had normal type damage and with somebody who is competent at ace microing. So yeah, we can forget about that. Let's move on with our day, knowing now that the bombing runs are the explosive damage type when put on the Tsar Bomba nowadays, not normal. So if the Tsar Bomba is still technically the only camo solo, then how can we do round 95? Well, we can use the Pop and Ore ability, which its ability can stun camo balloons, which means that we can halt the progression of any of the DETs which appear around 95 at that given point in time, so that when we ignite the Tsar Bomba ability, it will be able to instantaneously eviscerate all 30 DETs on round 95. But we need to save the Pop and Ore ability usage for when they come around, so the Tsar Bomba will need to essentially solo the first half of a round and then eviscerate the rest of the round using one button. Round 15, pink balloons, not a chance. We're going to go with heavy shells, so then we need the Bernie stuff cross-pathing over the balloon buster cross-pathing, because as time goes on, the Bernie stuff will actually give more damage rather than balloon buster, which has better short-term damage. But the residual damage of the Bernie stuff over time is better if you have Bernie stuff over balloon buster. Actually, there is one non-hero 2TC on Infernal that was done with Pop and Ore and the Mad, and what a brutal combination. But with that combo in general, you want to have 250 Pop and Ore so that you're able to do more damage against the ceramics on a shorter map in which you need that access to that damage in the first place, rather than waiting for the burning stuff to start doing damage. Because Infernal is not what you call a long track. It's a very short track. It's one of the easier expert maps. Round 27. Gonna complete it. Round 28. Both our towers are competent at popping lead balloons. Especially the Mortar. You are made to counter lead balloons. And in some 2 megapop runs, people just put down a base mortar just to be able to get through like round 28 and 30 with those leads. We're going to go for artillery battery next because A, it's cheaper than ground zero, and B, we need more of those shells in order to deal with, let's say, the early Moabs. Because I don't have many confidence in the bomber ace, even if you do the absolute best ace microing that you could possibly do. You just can't get the damage from just the ace alone on this map in order to take out the first Moab by itself, which you would have to do for the 1TC run that was once upon a time possible. Round 36. Camo regrow greens. Luckily nowadays, the spy plane grants double damage to camo balloons, and not just +1 damage. This still doesn't mean jack when your damage type is a rubbish one against DETs, in which we have sharp and explosive. But it's also applied to the Ground Zero and Tsar Bomba ability as well. So it means nowadays that the Ground Zero can take out the Round 99 fortified DDTs, which is pretty good. Okay, I forgot to actually upgrade you to artillery battery, do a little bit of microwave, although I don't think that is that required. I think we could just leave the mortar around this area here, and we'll be able to do enough damage against the Moab in order to take it out. And with some lucky bombing runs from the bomber ace. We'll get Ground Zero next. The difficulty of this particular combination is the timing of your abilities. We need to have the Tsar Bomba ability back as soon as possible for the next round. The only round in which we can't make that exception for is round 95 to 96, because both abilities are required to be used throughout round 95 in order to complete round 95. So we just have to make do with raw damage of both Pop and Ore and the Tsar Bomba throughout round 96. But then when we do get the Tsar Bomba ability back, we'll be able to use it for when everything is knocked out by the ability aside the ZOMGs. But I'll explain more when we get to the 90s, when we are around that point. Round 49, very easy. We've got two very explodey towers in this scenario. If you like bombs, you will like this scenario. And this square will be payloaded with mortar shells and bombing runs, and also big massive bombs from the Tsar Bomba, although that always appears on the center of the screen. Round 51, because of the double camo damage, we don't need to micro in the center here now that we've got Ground Zero. It does significantly more damage by default, but because we have that ×2 camo damage, well, we don't have to really worry about these camo ceramics here. Or even the fortified regrow ones, like even they should not be a problem because of the raw damage that we have from our bombs. I believe our darts are still very weak though. The only thing nowadays that the tier 5 aces can't do is the fact that the Tsar Bomba only has the Tsar Bomba ability to take out DDTs. Whereas nowadays, the Tsar Bomba outside of its ability, oh, we've got some camo opposition. You know what, I'm just going to use the Ground Zero ability. I'm not going to bother with ace microing that. It can only rely on its ability to damage DDTs, whereas the Sky Shredder and Flying Fortress, every single projectile that they chuck out, I believe aside from the exploding pineapple at tier 5, can damage DDTs. So the darts from the Flying Fortress can now damage DDTs. Both the darts and the explosive missiles that the Sky Shredder shoots out can damage DDTs, but it's just the outside of its ability usage of weaponry from the middle path ace mine key. I don't know why I said it like that. Nowadays certain stuff cannot damage DDTs. I said the same thing multiple times, but you know how I am. If you're a long time subscriber, you know about my deficiencies when it comes to being able to string a sentence together properly. We are taking out the opposition one explosive at a time. Maybe also a little bit of Bernie as well to help out. I'm just going to Ground Zero round 62. Because round 63 we have a mortar. That is the definition of what you can do to annihilate round 63 in its entirety. And you just got to say one word, and that one word is mortar. Round 64, let's just explode everything there. And take note that the Tsar Bomba ability will recover more quickly than the Pop and Ore ability. So just be mindful of that when you're using both of these towers together, because this is an incredibly ability reliant run to get right. And one more move and we are back on round 6. And I'm not joking about that. Let's just use the artillery battery ability there, just to knock out those Moabs that came from those BFBs. Round 67, we have those left. I'm going to move the mortar cursor over to the left hand side of the map because on round 70 I don't want the ground zero at the moment to have any troubles when it comes to these regrow camo white balloons, and I may actually do some ace microing so that we can go through this round. So the mortar will deal with the rainbows and the ground zero ace will deal with the camo regrow whites. Because one of yous don't have camo detection. But sometimes not having camo detection is a good thing, because if you have a defective damage type that doesn't necessarily pop a target because you can't do damage against it, let's say for example if you have a sharp damage type but don't have camo detection, that means that if the ETs are left with the camo status by default, then the, let's say, attack zone, its projectiles will not disappear due to DETs because it can't target camo balloons to begin with. And I should move the mortar cursor back over here now that round 70 has depleted. Silly me. We are so close now to the pop and ore upgrade. You could go with Tsar Bomba first, but I just find that pop and ore is so much simpler to use than a monkey ace. For those of you who are really good at ace microing, good on you, because I cannot fathom out when or where to change the flight pattern of the ace itself to get the most out of it, depend on the scenario, depend on the round, etc. Some ace micro experts say that it's not difficult to pull off, but then again that's like a lecturer saying that I've had 25 years of learning this, you should all find it easy like myself. It doesn't work like that in the real world. And we didn't need to do any microing with the ace with those camo fortified regrow ceramics. Any other properties you want to give a tower? I mean a balloon? Yes, what about super? No, we're not on round 81 or further than that. They can't have them yet. Super ceramics don't spawn children. Round 75, done and dusted. Round 76, I have pop and ore. That is my evidence that I can do round 76. Unless of course you put the cursor over here and then I think, why did you do that? Why did you decide to try and incinerate these bananas and that lovely strawberry milk drink? I don't know what you are. It could be anything. As long as you're cold though, I don't mind. And in date. Remember, in date is also very important. Okay, deal with the ceramics on this round. And then with the last will of my might, I shall come forth a ground zero bomb that will wipe out all of the camos on the round. Wait a minute, that's the other tower and its ability, but that's perfectly fine. That's an example that the pop and ore ability can damage and destroy camo balloons. But I would say that the pop and ore, especially with burning stuff, is a very poor example of trying to get more cash because of the cash regrow bug in the game. Sometimes with certain combinations, you end up losing money rather than gaining money, so it's best sometimes to just pop the balloons normally. ZOMGs, we will pop you naturally, but as time goes on, you will take more shells and more darts and more bombs to pop. Same with your insides as well. Round 81. Here we go. This is where super ceramics will start popping their heads out. So for the 80s, the ability timings don't really matter. You can use your abilities in any way, shape or form, and as long as you have the Tsar Bomba ability back for round 90, then obviously the only round you gotta worry about when it comes to Tsar Bomba ability usage is 89. Because you've got to think about the next round after that. Luckily, we do bonus damage against fortified balloons as the upgrade that grants heavy shells, then ABAT, which is short for artillery battery, then up to pop and ore. And nowadays, burning stuff is granted bonus burning damage when upgrade to artillery battery. It starts off with, then pop and ore. But heavy shells still hasn't got bonus damage from burning stuff as far as I remember from looking at notes. Maybe I forgot an update where heavy shells and burning stuff do have synergy. I'm just waiting for the day when signal flare grants the mortar extra damage rather than just being a decamo option. But I'm gonna wipe out this round. Almost. We almost did it. Round 86. What could possibly go wrong? Tell you what, how about everything? But not in this scenario. We're going to leave one fortified BFB left to pop naturally. And definitely we will also use the Tsar Bomba ability on 87. We're going to wait for a little bit. We're going to try and damage 3 of the 4 ZMGs. Once you will get very close to being popped, we'll do that. But that was more damage than I wanted to. But that is kind of an example of what to do in the later rounds. But obviously with a bit more careful timing than that. Tsar Bomba ability again. Stun the ZMGs. Then pop the rest of the ZMG layer by just using your regular attacks. 88 goes down very well. The burning stuff will hopefully destroy the insides, even like super fortified ceramics. Give enough time and the burning stuff will take care of the rest. Even with you lot, who are much tougher than fortified Moabs, being fortified BF3s with many fortified Moabs with lots of ceramics inside which are also fortified. Okay, round 90. We have the ability ready and raring to go. Come on, DDTs. 1, 2, 3. You are done for. Absolutely and utterly done for. We're going to pop some of these BFBs to start off with. And then as time goes on, hopefully we will get our abilities back ready for 92. Don't always want to damage everything if you feel like it's a benefit towards saving those abilities for the next round or so. Okay, 92. We're just going to use the, well, both abilities actually. But I was kind of hoping that one of those DMGs would still remain intact. So we've got to be very careful about what we do for the remaining of this round here. Because I need the Tsar Bomba ability back for 93. And that's enough time given. So there we go, 93. We have the Tsar Bomba ability ready for the 60 ETs on this round. We may actually just hold off using anything against these few remaining fortified BFBs, and yeah, you come back quite quickly nowadays. Round 0 felt like it was like once in a blue moon before it came back, but then all the buffs happened to the middle path of the Monkey Ace, and then the rest is history. Okay, 94. This is quite important. We're going to Tsar Bomba all of the BFBs to death. And then with the rest of this, hopefully we'll be able to take out all of this using our standard attacks. Important to not use pop and ore throughout this round so that we can have it ready for 95. Because I think even with the duration of the purples and lead camos on 95, you're still waiting for the pop and ore ability to come back even if you used it like that. Okay, so Tsar Bomba. The only thing we've got to really do is ensure that all of the targets are taken out, and I'm worried about those few there that are going to escape. They didn't escape. Okay, lovely. So the only fault I've done so far throughout this run is just starting off with a mortar, relying too much on this little square to pop everything. But as long as, okay, I think we're very close now for the first DET to spawn. There we go. Okay. It doesn't matter how many DETs you get stunned, as long as you start the stunning when a DET spawns. So that then we can have the entirety of all of the DETs that summon around 95 to be on the field here, just like so. Wipe out 95, and now we've just got this round to consider our remaining damage that we have outside of our abilities. Luckily, Pop and Ore should be able to damage all of these fortified mobs to the extent where we can damage and destroy them. And all of their insides, they're all burning away. It'll take a long time, but we can do it. Okay, Tsar Bomba ability now, and I'm also going to use the Pop and Ore ability to help with the damaging of some of these ZMGs. I want to take out all of them, but I do want to take out most of them, if I can. Okay, that is a good mark right there. I don't believe we're going to need the Pop and Ore ability for 97 at all. We're going to aim you away just so that we can take the rest of this out. And hopefully, with what we've got going on left here, we can take out... Oh, we've got the Pop and Ore ability back anyway. So, for 97, I'm going to use the ability on one of the 2 fortified ZMGs. Because I want to pop the second one that summons without the need of the Tsar Bomba ability to instantly wipe it out. But we can do this for 97. And then for 98, we are going to initiate 2 Tsar Bomba abilities as soon as they come online. One of them, we're going to stun every single ZMG on 98 aside one of them. So in that case, you want to use it for when like the 3rd or 4th ZMG starts spawning on the track. And then that should indicate to use the Tsar Bomba ability. And the hope is that one of the ZMGs will still move while the others are stunned. So that then you take out the fortified BFBs that are currently on the round just using the ability. And then just wait for your abilities to come back on 98. With one single ZMG left on the track that is partially damaged, but we still need to use the Pop and Ore to do residual damage against the ZMGs that summon on 98, so that then we don't just like go into a huge amount of fortified BFBs and all. No, just regular BFBs. Okay, I can't tell. Okay, that's really odd because there should be some representation of like several ZMGs spawning out. So I don't know why they summoned like that. But one of them is ahead of the others, which is a good sign. So I'm going to use the Pop and Ore ability now. And I just hope that... What? No, wait, hold on. No. They look far too damaged. Usually there should be a visual indication as to like how many are summoned out. But the first one that summoned out was in front of the others which were behind it. I know that sounds stupid, but visually they should look like they are summoned one at a time. 1, 2. Well, this bug is annoying when you can't use your hotkeys to use your abilities, because in update 52, if you exit out of a game and re-enter it, you have to either press the ability down here or click on the tower to use their ability, because I can't press 1 or 2 because the game doesn't think that these hotkeys are aligned because the game is bugged. So what we're going to have to do is wait for 3 ZMGs to spawn out, and then hopefully you should see one that is going to move. There we go. That's the one I'm thinking of. And now I can confidently say that aside one ZMG, all of these have been damaged by the Tsar Bomba ability. Okay. Again with this bug. It's a really annoying bug currently in 52. I hope at some point we'll get the update 53 teaser. And from there we do the do. Okay, so we're going to use the ability. That's too much damage. I can't afford it because I need the Tsar Bomba ability back for 99. Problem is, if I don't damage these ZMGs aside from well, this one over here, then what's going to happen is that these ZMGs will not be fully popped when the second Tsar Bomba ability goes. See right there, there's a huge amount of Moabs and ceramics to try and counter all at once. And even with the mortar, I will be pierce capped. Although not that pierce capped. we were managing to do it. So Tsar Bomba, please stop with the damaging of the Z and G. Okay, now that they're both active, we can now make do with destroying. But if you just end round 98 too soon, then when we need to use the Tsar Bomba ability on round 99, we can't do that. So for round 99, we need to wait for 8 of them to summon, and then drop your ability and hope that it destroys most of the round aside 1 or 2 Moabs. In which at that point, we need to wait for as long as possible before destroying the Moabs and then the ceramics after that. As I was saying, we can now complete 98. Stupid pink balloon. At least it wasn't the one below the pink, which is the yellow, which I'm far too used to when it comes to deaths. Funny stuff, would you please incorporate yourself that time? Okay, round 99. So we need to do this very carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that should wipe out everything aside these two. And I need you, for the love of my goodness sakes. I try to get you away from these Moabs, but hey, guess what? When I want you to damage a target, anytime I try an ace micro, the pilot just seems to go anywhere other than where the target is. But when I want the opposite to happen, the ace just like, don't you want me to damage all of them using every single bomb and dart that I have at my disposal? Just stop it. Oh, 1 left. Okay. If I was any frames later than that, then that would have been disastrous. Stop trying to damage that Moab! You stupid ace pilot! When I want you to damage something, you are anywhere other than where the target is. But then when I don't want you to damage it, you're right over that target like a bloody magnet. Okay, hopefully now we can damage this Moab. And everything inside it. Thank goodness, because now we've got the ability back maximized and ready to use on the round, which is why I needed to delay the end of round 99 for as long as possible, so that you can get the Tsar Bomba ability back. But hey, guess what? Sometimes this pilot is insanely annoying, because when I command you to do something, you don't do it. Anyways, I am trying to speak logic into an illogical scenario, which is wrong of me to do so. But anyways, this is where we need the bunny stuff over Balloon Buster. We have more single target damage over time with bunny stuff than Balloon Buster. But on any shorter tracks, you would need Balloon Buster over bunny stuff because you need that single target damage to happen over a shorter duration. And will this bug stop being present to me where I can't click a number on the keyboard which resembles when to use the ability when I press 1 or 2? It is infuriating that this bug was not present upon the update's launch. Surely that should be something that is a priority, because then I don't need to occupy my mouse over the button of the ability, whereas I should normally just have my mouse over where I would need to interact with stuff on the map. Okay, Tsar Bomba ability. I know that in the future people will be like, what the hell are you talking about? But at this present moment in update 52, there is a bug in the game where if you try and press 1 or 2, let's say in this instance to try and activate the ability, even though that is fully ready to use, the game thinks that the ability is not ready and active. Or something just happened with a keybind. Okay, so I do want to save this pop and or ability for when we unleash the next Tsar Bomba ability. And I hope that with enough damage done onto you, that when this happens... Okay, these deities need to go away. Oh, thank goodness for that. Usually, those deities should be instantaneously eviscerated, but obviously I didn't do enough damage against the bad with what we had at the moment to at the point where we could actually destroy the deities as well, because damage happens on the inside as well when you have enough damage going on there. So not yet. Don't want to press it just yet. I want to have it so that your BFB, so that I know that you're guaranteed to be ready to be destroyed. I think we did enough damage there because you were 75% of the way throughout your HP. So that, aside from some really annoying little quirks, because the game decides that you shouldn't succeed, even though I know what to do, I know when to apply it, but the game decides that you can't, because why the hell not just annoy me? This game does that a lot when I want to do something, but then the game decides, no, you can't do it because we've decided F you. So, we've done the scenario, Pop and Or and Tsar Bomba. It is an incredibly ability-reliant pairing. You need to have your abilities ready for when you desperately need them. Like, on 95, both of them are required. On 98, Tsar Bomba mainly. 99, Tsar Bomba. 97, you could say both of them, but only really Tsar Bomba. But it's mainly 95, you need to have Pop and Or ready. Just as long as one DDT spawns, then you know you got the maximum stun up time for the DDTs on the round there. But thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Let me know what you thought of the video down in the comment sections below. And we shall see each others in the next video of whenever it may be. Check out 400% elite blown areas while you are having the availability to do so, because this thing is honestly jacked up when it comes to its modifiers, and abilities come back quicker as well, which is nice. But you're missing several key towers, like Darts, like the Engineer, like Wizard, like Ninja, like the Ace. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, everybody.